Hello everyone, welcome to the Concern Podcast, where we unpack political, social, economic and cultural stories shaping our world. I am Emmanuel Taban. Now this is my second video that I'm making regarding the incident that happened early this week in Juba, and that is about the destruction of custom market. That incident has shocked the entire nation. It has taken many people out of surprise. And it is true that over the years, there are markets that got banned in Juba. And many times. But the magnitude, the amount of losses incurred, and the level of trauma caused by this recent incident was exceptional. It's quite different. After the incident happened early this week, I had the unfortunate privilege to converse with some of the victims of the incident. And I've actually learned that some of these people who got affected by the incident that happened in Juba, some of them, to me, feels like the world has crashed, like the world has come to an end. Out of the stories that I had, I have learned that some of these individuals, establishing the businesses that they had before the destruction, they went through a lot. Some of these businesses that got destroyed were established as a result of these individuals being downsized or retrenched or removed from their jobs. And the little savings that they had, they thought it wise that they invest so it will help not only them but their families and their children in the future. Some of these shops were established as a result of these individuals going so deep down into borrowing loans because they feel there's no any other ways that they could survive. The only way they can survive is to go down and borrow loans, establish business, and perhaps if they make profits, they can repay back that loan, and whatsoever think the business will be left with, they can go on with that. Some of these individuals are mothers that are left with their kids, that perhaps the fathers died, and those businesses were everything for them. That's where they feed their children. That's where they get the money to pay their tuition. That's where they pay for them when these kids are sick. That's literally everything. But unfortunately, all this came to an end in a matter of hours. And you can imagine the level of trauma, the level of mental instability that is caused into the minds of these individuals. Something that you had hoped for, something that you've bestowed your entire hope on, getting crushed in a matter of hours. You can imagine that. But one thing though that I've learned from the destruction, one thing that I've learned from the fire outbreak that happened in Juba this week is beyond destruction, is more than destruction. The incident that happened in Juba was just more than destruction. I feel there's a bigger message that is coded in that destruction of the market. A painful message to every single South Sudanese. And that message is that if you are a South Sudanese, if you call yourself a South Sudanese, the message coded in the destruction of the market is that if you are a South Sudanese, you are on your own. You are on your own. Another message is that if you are a young person with an entrepreneur skills who wants to invest and perhaps reap some profits, the message coded in that distraction is that the country is not the right place for your skills. The country is not the right place to invest because you are on your own. Another message that is coded in that distraction is that as a young South Sudanese, do not dare to dream. If you dream to invest, if you dream to establish businesses, do not dare. That is another message coded in that distraction. And sometimes that message is not only meant for South Sudanese. That message cuts across. It's sent to foreigners, those people who are probably watching the country from outside and feels that this is a new country that has the potentials of establishing new businesses and that these businesses can grow as this country grows. If there are people out there who looks at South Sudan in that lenses, the destruction of the market that happened early this week has a coded message for you. And that message is, do not come to South Sudan. If you come, no one is going to take care of your businesses. No one is going to mind about protecting your businesses. Is this the country that we want to develop? Is this the country that we want to diversify the economy? Is this the country that we hoped for? If its own people are not protected to build it, if we can't build an economy through investment, what other ways are there to build an economy? If we can't build an economy by creating a safer space for foreign investors to take interest in the country, what other possible ways do we have to grow our economy? So the destruction of custom market was more than that. It was not just a destruction. It had a coded message, not only for South Sudanese, but for foreigners who are taking interest in this country. What do you think will come in the mind of that potential foreigner or foreign investor who wanted to invest, who wanted to establish a business in South Sudan after that incident that happened early this week? What do you think will come in the mind of that foreigner if he saw that incident happen, the destruction of the market? You think this person would be in position to come? Would he agree to come and risk his capital in investing in such a country? Absolutely not. So if you're a young person out there, just know that whatsoever thing you want to do in the country, you are on your own. And if you survive, you're surviving through God's mercy. That is the message that was sent through the destruction of the market. You are on your own. Do not dare to dream. For foreigners, this is not the right environment for investment. Stay where you are. Invest in your own country. And don't think about coming to South Sudan. That is the message inserted in the destruction of custom market.